and welcome to a jet-lagged edition of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. I am back from New Zealand, but still on New Zealand time. I think Becky's still on Australia time, so she's not going to make it today. Lily, you're here.
Right.
How are you doing?
I'm stressed.
I've only been away
very
from
stressed.
I've only been away from mom and dad, but
You
let's
have
just
to go
talk about
back.
Mom here
You have to go back.
for a week, not a week, 3 days.
No, you've been away from them when the incident occurred. I think it was 48 hours you had been away from her.
And you know, as I told my mother many times, she is the inspiration. She is our inspiration. And she knows. She called me to say, I know you're going to talk about this on the podcast. And I said, you bet we are.
You know what's funny? When she called me and she's like, I know you're going to talk about it on the pod, I was so upset that I was like, Mom, I would never. I am so upset right now. I would never do that to you.
I literally.
And then when the stress released, the cortisol levels went down, I was like, you know what? She deserves this.
I have a screen recording. I recorded my screen just to show the succession of messages. So where should we start? So, okay, I'll tell you everyone about New Zealand, and you already, hopefully people have checked out that amazing list of movies from New Zealand. We'll talk about my trip, but what we have to talk about right now is the aftermath, because when I know mom and dad are very capable people. When you travel with them, they definitely, if you're their kid, it's our chance to repay them. Help out. I help out a lot. You help out. We all help out a lot. It's a lot of fun. But I know that they are totally self-sufficient. And so leaving them, I did not expect to have what happened happen. So the other day at it was 1 o'clock in the morning.
6:40. It was 6:40 my time, so it's 1:40 your time.
1:40 my time. My phone starts going off.
But it's not a normal going off.
Not a normal going off. No, like it interrupted my sleep.
Do not disturb.
And it says, it's a message from mom that it almost comes in like a call. And people who have parents who have Apple Watches, you need to know about this. And if you don't, think about getting your parents an Apple Watch.
Or maybe not.
Yeah, or maybe not. I don't know. So here it says, I'm just going to take Lily through the succession. It says, hard fall, SOS, Fanny Corman called emergency services from this approximate location after Apple Watch detected a hard fall. You're receiving this because Fanny has listed you as an emergency contact. And then it has a pin somewhere near Wellington in New Zealand. Now,
like in New Zealand.
And yeah.
Very far.
So I got nervous. And I called mom right away, and she didn't pick up. And then I called dad, and dad said he didn't know where mom was, but he's like, she's probably fine.
No, I think you're missing the
Am I missing part of the story?
Oh my God, your brain is mush. I worry. Are you okay?
No, okay, sorry.
Back from New Zealand?
All right.
This is not the story.
Start from the beginning. 1:40 a.m. We get a hard fall phone call from mom. And it shows
a message.
It's a message. And it shows a pin in Wellington, New Zealand. This is what we're looking at right now.
I just want to say for the record, I'm late to this podcast recording, but also I did not get a single one of these notifications. So I guess I don't even need to
sit back and listen.
I guess I don't need to be here because
I did confirm with her that you are on the list.
The reactions are me at first thinking, this is just mom nonsense. Lily in total panic, and Becky like, oh, I guess I'm not on mom's emergency contact list. But when you ask mom, she lists all the people that are on her emergency contact list. It goes way deeper. Like, it's possible her hairdresser in Philadelphia also got the message.
But clearly not me, or better yet, whose contact information does she have associated with my name?
That's the better question to be asking.
That's true.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
So it's 6:40 for me, which might as well be the middle of the night. And I hear.
I'm like 3/4 of the way through my morning
day.
By that. I'm like, I've lived a whole life by 6:48.
The first time I talked to her.
Yes,
sorry,
I know that. I'm trying to tell the story, Shai. Your brain is mush. It got ruined on the way back from New Zealand. At 6:40, I hear a noise that makes me just assume my kids accidentally put on like an alarm clock because they have a clock in their bedroom and they must have touched the buttons and thought it was funny and they put an alarm on. And that's what I'm hearing. I don't even look at my phone. I was like, where is this noise coming from? So I get out of bed. I go into their room. There's nothing. I go back into my room. It stopped, but I'm like, what is this? It stopped. So I went back to sleep because again, 6:40 is the middle of the night. Then at 10 to 8, I get up and I get up at 10 to 8. And luckily, when I go to look at my phone, I see SOS, hard fall, Fanny Corman called emergency services. She fell. But I see a message from Shai, thank God, that says, talk to mom. She's okay.
But she did fall. All right. So that's the thing. She did fall. She tripped and she said, oh, and I busted my lip. I'm like, wow, that watch is really smart. But I let everybody know she was okay.
Right. So when I got up, I took the kids to school. I'm walking my dog. I immediately call mom. And I'm like, Mom, are you okay? Shai said that you're all right, but like, what happened? And she's like, oh, let me just video you. And I'm fine. And we do like a video call. And her lip is like super swollen.
Like in Hitch?
She said, she goes, it looks like I got fillers.
But just on one half of her face.
A single wrinkle on my lip.
On her lip, yeah. and I was like, Mom, you're lucky you didn't lose all your teeth. And she was like, I know. She's like, and I didn't have my glasses on because then they would have like shattered on my face. And she just missed a step. She was with their guide in New Zealand.
But that's because, by the way, there wasn't a restaurant we left in New Zealand where Mom's glasses weren't found on the floor after we left.
She's just leaving glasses all over New Zealand. Thank God she didn't have them on. Thank God she left them behind. So I talked to her for a little bit. Dad just seemed very annoyed at the whole situation. I could hear him in the background just sounding annoyed. And like, he gets very nervous about mom. So I'm sure he was just annoyed that she put him through.
We all get nervous about mom.
Right. And so I was like, all right, Mom, look, like, I just need to understand this because I keep getting a message that you fell, but you're moving your location. And then like 911 of New Zealand, who knows what that's called? I mean, I barely know that here it's called 112.
I think it's 111. I think it's 111. I kept an eye on that while I was traveling with Mom.
That makes sense. So it doesn't matter because her Apple Watch knew. And I was like, Mom, like they called emergency services. And I know that because my phone told me because your watch told my phone. And she was like, I know. And they insisted on calling Dad to find out like if I was okay, but I told them I was fine, but they asked me for an emergency contact. I was like, you need to get your emergency contacts under control. So then I was like, Mom, walk me through who's in this Apple Watch emergency contact thing. Because Shai got it, I got it. Poor Becky, I'm sure she was woken up by it. And Mom's like, I think it's just anyone with the last name Corman, my phone. And I was like, well, Mom, that means like a lot of people got this message.
I don't think that's some how people that aren't alive. That means there's like a house in Brooklyn being called.
Right. I was like, I just don't think that like Apple went by your last name and then called everyone with that last name. There must be a list. She's like, oh, let me look.
Every phone in the United States. What you're saying
is that she's not reliable in terms of knowing how her emergency contacts are set up. No. So her saying I'm on the list and me not being on the list.
Fair.
Very reasonable discrepancy.
So she reads and she goes, it's Shai, you, and Becky. You're on the list. And I was like, okay, all right. She goes, and I was like, it rang even though I had do not disturb on. She goes, yeah, that's because I have my settings that way. And I was like, lady, take a seat. Apple has it. You didn't set that up. All right, calm down. And so then she was like, well, I'm glad that, everything's okay. Fine, whatever. Let's cut to now. It's the same day. That was 6:40 for me, 1:40 a.m. for Shai. Now it's about 9:22 p.m. for me, which is 4:22 for Shai. And I'm in my kitchen about to eat dinner. It's 9:00 at night. Well, that's dinner time where I live. And my phone starts going off again. Fanny Corman had a hard fall.
Oh my God.
Over and over again. Over and over again. And they kept just getting messages that she's moved locations.
Right. So this is where
Wait, so do you just think she's rolling down a hill at this point?
Becky,
watch.
I
recorded
go to
this
Jose.
on my phone.
No, wait.
Rolling down a hill.
I go
Or
to
has she
Jose.
has she been taken?
I go to Jose. I was like, oh my God, is she falling in real time? And this fucking watch is just telling me, and I can't do anything about it. Oh my God, something bad has happened. And he's just eating an omelet going, you need to relax. Because clearly this is a thing. And I was like, no, something's happened. I call her, she doesn't answer. I call her twice, she doesn't answer. I call Dad, he doesn't answer. I call Shai, he doesn't answer. And I start hyperventilating. I literally was like, how I don't know the emergency number. I'm freaking out.
So because I had called the previous time and spoken to Mom. I called Mom, she didn't pick up. I called Dad. Dad picks up. And good for Dad. He has learned an important lesson about traveling with Mom. When you don't want to go on something, just stay back and do what you want to do.
But also, Dad says, I call Dad, I do get him. This is before I called you, Shai. I called Dad and I go, Dad, where's Mom? And he's like, I'm not with her. She's fine. I was like, oh, you talked to her? He goes, no, but I know she's fine.
Yeah.
I was like, I love your faith in Mom, but like, dude, like, she already fell. I was like, she fell once today. Maybe she got a secret concussion. Nobody knows. And now she's like fainted somewhere. And Dad goes, well, she's on a gondola ride and then going to like an aquarium. I don't know.
A bird sanctuary.
No, he didn't even say that. He was like, and then she's going to some, and I was like, oh my God, did she fall off the gondola? Is that the Apple Watch alert? And I was like, Dad, I don't want to make you nervous, but like, I'm going to call Shai. Forget, like, I'm just going to call Shai. So
Lily's frantically calling me, telling me this is her nightmare.
Yeah.
And I called Constance, who was our guest last week. Eventually reached Constance, sent us a nice message saying your mother's okay, which is if you are a guide to my parents anywhere in the world, one of your jobs is messaging us to tell us
is answering our phone call.
Just proof of life every so often.
And then Lily and I connect. So you have Lily saying this is my nightmare, and then you have Becky saying like that she's upset that she's not getting the phone.
I'm not upset. I'm just resigned.
Always
I just want to like the youngest.
Mom says you're included.
I want to replay here, though.
But it's not over. It's not over.
We continue to get messages.
No, Becky.
Watch that. This is not even all of them, but just watch. We get messages, and each one is with a different pin across New Zealand.
But I'm getting messages. I'm getting messages constantly. Okay. I can't even tell you the amount that I've gotten, and they're constant. Today I've gotten 3.
So just watch.
Yesterday I got 17.
Just watch as we scroll through this. So here she is by the water, by the wharf in Wellington. Now she's
now fallen.
Was she in these places?
Yeah, yes. She was in all of these places.
Now she's fallen in a park.
Do we think she was one of those like check-ins where you're like checking in with people?
Now she's by some cafe. Now she's by a little lake. Now she crossed the lake.
In the lake. Now she's fallen. She's managed to fall on the other side of the lake.
Every single message across the lake.
Every message says hard fall SOS.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking like as if she's rolling, Becky. Like
hard fall. The approximate location has changed. She's just bouncing across New Zealand.
I've gotten 2 of these already just now in this last hour.
So I've stopped calling.
Okay, wait. So yesterday night at around 11 p.m., like once Shai says he heard from her, Dad texts, she's okay. I call her to yell at her. So she finally answers the goddamn phone. And I'm like, Mom, I can't be put through this kind of stress. I was like, I can't do this. I need you to call Apple and deal with this. She was like, no, it's fine. I couldn't answer your call because I was at a bird sanctuary. And I was like, I guess it disturbs the birds. She can't pick up the phone. And I was like, Mom, but it keeps telling me that you're fine.
Because you know why? Because Mom talks through her hearing aids and the birds are like, who's that lady talking to herself?
Yeah.
It makes them nervous.
And so she's like, no, I'm okay. I'm all right. I was like, Mom, this is just like really stressful. She's like, I didn't fall again. She was like, I promise I didn't fall again. All right. So then before she answered my messages to her, Mom, I'm panicking. I got 3 SOS alerts saying you fell hard. She writes back, I'm with Constance in a bird sanctuary. I was like, Mom, this is an hour later. I keep getting the messages like, Mom, you have to call Apple. I keep getting alerts. They're coming. It's really stressful. An hour after that, I was like, Mom, I'm still getting alerts. I think it's because of a location issue. It keeps telling me you change your location. And she just writes, because I'm on the move.
This is a real boy who cried wolf situation.
I know. And I was like,
You're not going to come.
I go, I know you're on the move and you're obviously fine, but I need to stop getting alerts that you moved.
Oh, that you're falling in each of these places, including in the lake.
In the lake. And she was like, no, I've taken care of it. Shai, we can prove
we're still
it's not taken care of because we're still getting these alerts.
Are you still getting them?
Yes, I just got 2 this hour. She's moving around. Where is she? Well, I can tell you, but I don't pay attention to them anymore.
It definitely doesn't go off.
I think she's doing location sharing
up since her fall. Like I don't know how to stop it.
She hasn't turned it off, and it definitely doesn't happen every time she drops her phone because that happens. That's everywhere.
No. I mean, like, the thing is that she goes to me, she goes, just don't ignore the messages. That's her solution. Ignore the messages. I'm either going to be with Dad or the guide, so I won't be alone. So if, like, God forbid something happens, I'm with someone. And I was like, I guess. So now I just haven't been paying attention to them. I don't know what to say.
Well, I'll just, in the couple minutes we have, because we got a short episode this week, I'll just say a little bit about the movies that I watched. You guys want to know the movies that I watched on the plane? I had a real... Becky's making a face.
I'm not making a face, but you're not going to list things
that anyone else would watch?
That other people...
Well, some of them are on the list that we posted last week, so I want to report back.
Well, I'm interested in seeing all like the cool niche New Zealand made films. Those are the ones I...
Okay. So the non-New Zealand
list. I want to see the whole list.
The non-New Zealand film that I watched is this movie called... That was on the way out. It was this movie called Dark Star. John Carpenter, one of his earlier movies. Very claustrophobic, low budget, 2001 Space Odyssey, but also with like a surfing motif. Then I saw Dead Alive, which I've talked about already. Peter Jackson, early horror comedy. Right. Absolutely awesome. Really fun. Hard to find. I had to find a DVD to actually get it. Then we rewatched We Were Dangerous, which we saw at South by Southwest, but we got to see it in the theater in Wanaka, which was really, really cool. Oh. And there was like a cool little intimate theater. And then I got recommended to me by Matthias from Flying Nun Records, which was the record store and record label that I discovered in Christchurch. This movie called Head South, which is a coming of age story about this kid in Christchurch in the late 70s, I think, or early 80s, starting a punk band. And it's it's like based on a true story. And it was a really sweet, there's this dark comedy, but also sadness in all of these New Zealand movies. Like everybody has some in most of the, even in Dead Alive, everyone has some like very sad relationship with one of their parents in the background of what are very heartwarming and I think joyful in a lot of ways movies. So Head South, you can't get it yet. It doesn't have distribution here yet. So I only got to see it on the plane. And Matthias, he said to me, he says, you got to check this movie out. The soundtrack's amazing. But you got to watch it on the plane because it's the only.
You just need to buy a ticket to New Zealand to watch.
Yeah, Air New Zealand to watch it. I hope this movie comes out here soon. It's really great. Eagle versus Shark, early Taika Waititi, which has it's like a Napoleon Dynamite style love story. So if you're into that, Bellbird, which was beautiful, and there's this actor Rachel House that's also in Eagle versus Shark, that's also in Bellbird, and she's just amazing. And Bellbird is again another movie about a guy kind of struggling to find happiness in his work, but again, just a beautiful slice of life. I watched a lot of Flight of Conchords season 2, and then just to like close out with a low budget schlock thing that had nothing to do with anything else, I watched Death Race 2000, which is the movie that the original Death Race is based on, which has David Carradine, Martin Kove from Karate Kid, and Sylvester Stallone as the like cartoony villain in it, which is before Rocky. And weirdly, this movie feels like the Hunger Games ripped it off. It's weirdly like, I can't recommend this movie, but at the same time, it was very cool. And it was produced by Roger Corman, not our father, but the famous producer. So those are all the movies I watched over the last week. Oh, and I have one episode left of Drops of God.
Oh, God, I can't believe you resisted finishing it on your trip.
I'm savoring it. I'm savoring it.
So many hours. How did you not watch it?
Because I'm savoring it.
I can't believe you had that restraint.
One of those glasses of wine in the movie. So I got one episode.
But I'm just gonna say, I'm in like a show depression because I finished it.
Oh, really? It's that good.
So I think it's
so emotional afterwards.
It's more than so emotional.
It's so beautifully,
so well done.
It's so beautifully.
I loved it deeply.
It's so beautifully shot.
It's up there for me with like Succession and Severance and like these shows that are that I can say I've never seen something like that.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's.
Where is it on?
Apple.
Apple.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I started Time Bandits last night.
Oh, I hear good stuff. My kids are watching that and they love it.
I only saw the first episode, but I loved it. It is so fun and sweet and silly, and it has, it's just really, really silly.
Are you watching with your littles? Or just
I'm just watching it.
Becky loves her some fantasy.
Well, come over and watch it with my kids. I just want to say the person who directed all 9 episodes of Drops of God is an Israeli director named Oded Ruskin. Mm-hmm. And I don't often think it's not TV. You don't always think about the director, but when one guy's directed every episode,
it's almost like a movie.
The way they do so many shot. It's not something I think about, but the acting is so great, and it's in 3 different languages, and it Drops of God. Cool. Absolutely beautiful. And I got 1 episode left, so I'm hanging on pins and needles here.
I can't wait to break it down, Becky. Yeah, you got to see it, and we should do a whole ep.
But Time Bandits, good, because my kids are loving it. Like, they're so into it. I tried to watch the original movie, and it wasn't one I watched when I was a kid. It's Terry Gilliam, I believe, and I had a hard time watching the original movie. It was very weird.
And just a little preview of a future ep that I assume we'll do is I've watched The Substance, and I'm going to need to talk about it with someone.
I plan to watch that soon.
I'll watch it.
Can Becky watch it?
I don't think so, Becky. Why? But I'd like to see you
horror. I'm fine as long as it's not like.
No, it's definitely just body horror.
I just get like nauseous. Okay. But I can do
don't
that.
Don't eat while you're watching it, and don't maybe eat right before.
It's not on it.
But yeah, we should definitely discuss because.
All right. Well, if anybody wants to be added to our mom's emergency contact list, just DM.
Probably have been.
Or join.
You probably are already on it. In fact, let's do it this way. If you're
join the Patreon.
If you're not on the emergency contact,
let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Let me know how to get on, because apparently I'm the only one.
All right. Well, it's good to be back. I love you guys.
Love you guys.
Talk soon.
All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Friday Night Movie, the sibling rivalry and pop culture podcast. Join the Friday Night Movie family by following @FryNightMovie on all of the socials and visiting our website, FryNightMovie.com. Our theme song is by What Does It Eat? And make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.